All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mariah, and I'm the Living Peace Now program coordinator. Not for long, soon Sabrina will be taking over. But today I'd like to welcome you to our opening summit for August's theme on simplicity. And before we hear from our guides and get started, I'm just going to quickly review some things on the website. So this is what livingpeacenow.org looks like, and you won't be able to see any of this unless you create an account. So if you haven't done so already, please do so. That's how you'll get access to all of the programs. And we just want to review how you can easily find the things you will most commonly need. So if you highlight over programs, you'll see there's a calendar and forum tab. So first, if you go to the calendar tab, this is where you're going to find all the upcoming events and more information about the events. So you'll see our next event is an interview that Reverend Rosemary's doing. So if you click in here, just as an example, you'll be able to see more information about the event, the Zoom link, the password to join, and information about all of our guides for all of the events. And another way you can find information is highlighting over programs and going to the forums tab. And here you'll see each spiritual guide has a tab for their monthly programming. So let's say you want to learn more about Chris's nature programming. If you go in under this forum, you'll see we have Zoom information here and the program description, but later you will also be able to find the program replays here. So if you missed the live Zoom event, the recordings will be posted under these tabs as well. So that was just a quick review of the overview of the website. Again, welcome. We are so glad that everyone is here today. And to get us started off, we're going to go over to Reverend Rosemary, and she's going to kind of review what the mission and vision is of Living Peace Now.
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Rosemary Hyde. I'm co-founder with Nancy Chu and Chris Geith of Living Peace Now, and I'm functioning at this point as the president. For August, we're going to explore the theme of simplicity. We always are looking at getting more aware of peacefulness, of what that means. And there are many things we don't realize we're discovering about being peaceful and creating peace. And each month we also have a theme. And this month of August, we're going to be exploring. This is not something we already know. We're going to explore together with you the theme of simplicity as it applies to peacemaking. A powerful spiritual truth teaches us that the more simply we can think, feel, and create, the more love, peacefulness, and power we will end up experiencing. This means that those who create the most beautiful, most satisfying, most abundant, most loving life experiences actually put the least effort in the moment into how their life feels. These people have learned that the universe surrounds them always with loving support that they can count on. Their only work consists of envisioning what would bring perfect happiness and then feeling their feelings always as they are, and knowing that they will receive what they're envisioning. We can easily fail to recognize good when it comes to us because we often believe it's not going to appear, so we miss it. When we resist what does come, we complicate our lives enormously. So the simplicity is the important value that we need to cultivate to be receiving and recognizing regularly. We need to think positive thoughts, and the easiest way, you might say the least effortful way to do this is to believe and then to receive joyfully, whatever we receive, knowing that no matter what it looks like on the surface, what we are receiving is genuine love. As we advance spiritually into awareness, we feel drawn to work less and less. Such a wonderful evolution of our expectations from stress to ease, from complication to simplicity, from fear to trust. Do we deserve that kind of ease and blessing? The answer is yes, a resounding yes, because we are one with love and can't be separated from it. Our Creator loves our spark of wonder and finds us endlessly beautiful and fascinating as we and our greater self look entranced at our shared selfness as in a mirror. We have to learn the emptiness of our outer image and learn to gaze right past it to the beingness of beauty at our core, the essence gazing back into our eyes. Our focus for the month of August will be relaxing into our essential wonderfulness and waiting, believing, receiving, not resisting, knowing our abundance of blessings. So let's look forward to a month of joyful, receptive practice. And Mariah?
All right. Thank you, Rosemary, for those words on simplicity. Very inspiring. So with all of that, now we're going to hear from each of the spiritual guides who will be presenting this month, and they're going to be introducing themselves, and they're also going to be speaking on our theme for this month, addressing the questions, what does simplicity mean to you? How does your work promote simplicity, either within your personal life, community engagement, and or spiritual life? Thank you. So for now, let's go over to Alex and Leland.
All right. I'm here. My name is Alex Weiss. I am a multi-instrumentalist and composer and collaborator with my wife, Leland. We offer a workshop called Tone Sphere Bones. We have been offering this workshop twice a month virtually on Living Peace Now. I'll talk more about that later. It's been an enriching experience being part of Living Peace Now and the variety of healers and spiritual guides and the programs they offer. I should say a few words about this month's theme, simplicity, since I was the one that suggested it. There are many aspects to simplicity. I'd like to mention two. One is, as a musician or artist of any type, it's really very useful to lead a simple lifestyle and being adaptable. Because if you live simply, you don't have to spend a lot of time pursuing material things. If you know how to live simply and it gives you more energy and time to pursue your art. I learned this lesson early on. The second aspect of simplicity actually took me many decades to realize its importance. And our world, our society is not living sustainably. Our world is overpopulated, and our abuse of the land and resources has now brought almost 1 million species to extinction. Most people don't consider dinosaurs too smart, but they thrived on our Earth for over 150 million years. Human beings, on the other hand, have been around about 200,000, and civilization only 6,000. I'm not saying we should go back to living in caves. It's about living sustainably. Renewable energy, family planning, recycling, and all the ways we could be living more in balance with this earth and her remaining diversity of life. We have become the most invasive species. So, in the realm of simplicity, let's live simply so others can simply live. And that brings me back to Tones for Your Bones. This is our way of contributing. We all do what we can to make this earth a better place. And Tones for Your Bones is something that my wife and I collaborate with, bringing together several healing modalities with creativity and music. On that note, I'm going to bring my little flute here and play a few notes and invite my wife in to continue the conversation.
So on that resounding tone, a simple one, but very powerful, we can get a sense of how vibration, for example, that bell, we hear it through our senses, we then feel it through our bodies, and that creates an effect, hopefully of peace, relaxation, healing. And so that's sort of the energy that we like to bring into Tones for Your Bones. I use the practice of Qigong, which means energy practices in Chinese. And me being an acupuncturist and a longtime Qigong practitioner, I've just always felt the effect of practicing Qigong or energy practices, and I love to be able to share that and have each participant have their own experience of what that's like in their body. And so the tones and vibration and energy, we like to seep into the bones. So thus Tones for Your Bones. We like it for your practices to have a visceral experience for you. And so on that note, what we usually bring in for the Living Peace Now program is we'll have live acoustic music that sort of sets the ambiance for meditation. I'm going to share this coming Friday, a Simply Being meditation that I love because of its simplicity. And hopefully that will resonate with you. And I'll share a Qigong practice called the Qi ball, the energy ball that you'll practice with your hands. And that will flow into a self-healing practice with the energy that you'll cultivate for yourself. Bring awareness to that sensation of energy through your palms, and then be able to use that for yourself, for your physical, emotional, spiritual well-being. And from that, we also have stories.
Sometimes I interject a story here and there.
Yeah, that follows that theme.
Simplicity.
And we like to have some interaction with participants too around the theme, and have a discussion of how the practice went for them, or also how, simplicity is playing out, or any, questions they might have. So that's our Tones for Your Bones for Living Peace Now. And now I'll share the stage now with Osvaldo.
I'm sorry, Oswaldo. We're going to do Jeffrey because he didn't get to go before, and then we'll go back to Oswaldo. Thank you, Alex and Leland.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jeffrey here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I have some thoughts on simplicity. It was an interesting concept when we talked about this is what the theme would be. I find that looking back from my earliest memory, life became complicated in my teenage years. Time began to be more important for school or work, and less of enjoyment. There was enjoyment, but and then simplicity was gradually being reduced. I allowed myself to let this happen, my simple life to change into the need to get done list, setting more time for creating my life instead of enjoying the simpler life. I found going to the woods or the beach or anywhere to stroll on my journey brought me closer to a balance I enjoyed. One of the many things I found to offer folks are full and new moon fire ceremonies each month. Full moons help release energy that no longer serves a purpose to help make room in your heart to create simplicity in your life. New moons are a time to plant energetic seeds for your visions on your journey, seeds that will assist you creating your simplicity from your heart. I hope when you think of simplicity, it will be enjoyable thoughts. Thank you. I believe Waldo is next.
Hello everyone, my name is Oswaldo Mora, originally from Ecuador, South America. Ecuador is not just a line around the world, it's a country in South America, just in case. Simplicity is actually a couple of days before we decided about the theme in this month. I had this experience of reading some book of Emmett Fox about dieting the mind, putting our mind into a diet. And it amazed me how my mind has this facility to complicate things. And I know that my consciousness can be operated by my human mind or my divine mind. And when I see nature, when I see the forest, when I experience nature, things work so simple, simply are. And that's the state of mind that I'm working on by working in this diet. Putting my mind into diet is like a wow, it's amazing. Not having to worry, not having to be concerned, because my energy now is put it into the sustainability of myself. So it's a wonderful theme that I've been inviting my family, I've been inviting my people in my country in these times of pandemic times. Let's practice simplicity. Let's stop thinking about how to fix the things that actually we cannot. So why we spend a lot of energy doing something that is not doable? Because if it's doable, we will be doing it. So it's a profound practice, it's a meditation practice, is to be present all the time, because that's the way these things should be, as simple as they are. Thank you.
Is it my turn, Mariah? Okay. Enjoyed everyone's sharings. My name's Lorraine, and I'm really glad to be here to share something I'm really passionate about, especially in the theme of simplicity. I'm a certified heart math mentor, and I've for years been practicing Traeger bodywork and movement reeducation. And variety of energy healing modalities. But this heart math is the most recent thing that's got me juiced to share. And as far as simplicity goes, what comes up for me is things other people have said, but a lot of it for me is an inner thing where I just have a sense of peace and calm and ease and no complications. The chaos is released. Sort of this calm, centered place where I can navigate whatever's going on in a better way. So the heart math tools are very simple, and it's a way I use every day. There's so many ways to get to this place, but for me, I love that I call it like a little recipe, 1, 2, 3. And so it's something where we focus on our hearts. And this month, we're going to do 2 half-hour, what they call heart lock-ins, where we really bring our attention to our heart and get into that heart frequency energy. And we'll breathe, activate positive feelings, and radiate heart care, compassion to ourselves and others. So it brings us into this state of really connecting with our true essence. And from there, we can have more clarity about what's a priority in our life, or if there's any decision to make. It just clears the chaos in the field. So I hope you'll join me because it's really fun and delightful to do. And thank you. Have a beautiful month.
Thank you, Lorraine. So my name's Emily Gabriel, and I'll be presenting workshop style sessions called A Simple Practice. And this will be on Thursdays at noon Eastern time. Myself, I am a celebrant. My background is in recruiting, and a lot of what I spend my time doing now as a student and as a practitioner and as somebody who spends a lot of time with people who are undergoing transitions in their lives is helping to identify what's most important and to find simple ways in which we can honor that. And that might be through ceremony, through conversation, through practices, through large or small transitions in our lives. So the simple practice sessions are going to identify for us what we value. We'll go through a process of sort of taking inventory of our days and taking inventory of our values. And through discussion and individual exercises and conversation, come to a realization for ourselves about ways that we can make small shifts in our days. Maybe it's by, one example I use is by making your bed. Maybe that's a small thing that you're trying to do to improve your life. But the point of having the discussion and participating in a group is feeling supported in the ways that such simple things can sometimes feel like these monumental tasks. And the idea of adopting even a simple practice that could be focused on either self-care or outreach is so much more enjoyable when it's done in a lighthearted context, when it's done in a spirit of uplifting community rather than a sense of I need to or I must. And so this is about finding what we love and not making it complicated, not feeling like something has to be too serious and too critical to be important and to make a real difference in our lives. I think we can all agree that sometimes it is the simplest things that will make our day better. And so hopefully through sharing time together in 3 sessions this month, we'll identify ways that simplicity and, more importantly, simple practices will enrich our lives, either particularly because our circumstances have changed during this rare time that we're in, or merely because we just like to play around in our own space and in our own lives and see where that leaves us. So I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to share this experience with all of you and to receive from these amazing spiritual guides myself as we go through this process. So thank you.
Thank you, Emily. And we're going to alternate our order a little bit, and we're going to have Edwina introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm grateful to be here. I'm Edwina Cowell, and my organization is Spiritual Playdate, and we provide resources for parents and teachers to work with kids ages 5 to 11 and around social, emotional, and spiritual topics. And so Rosemary and I have been working on putting together some programs for the next 2 months. And the way we've tied in simplicity is actually to do a training for parents and teachers around the topic of overcoming fear and anxiety, which I think is probably something that, you know, keeps us all, like when we think of simplicity, we think of contentment, we think of calm, we think of peace. And one of the biggest obstacles, I think, for most of us is anxiety. And it's pretty universal. It's something that we all experience. And it's also something that when parents find out that their children are experiencing anxiety, which is normal, especially in these days, I think, they tend to overreact and they tend to make it into something much more than it needs to be. And right away they feel like it's a diagnosis of something when it's really just an emotion of fear. And it's something that we need to all understand the difference between a real threat versus an imagined threat. What happens to our body when we imagine that we're threatened? So we are using, we're actually using a children's book, but it's a book that I recommend to every adult. It's called After the Fall, and it's the story of Humpty Dumpty after he's fallen off the wall. We're using both the English and French version, and the story is really an amazing story. It's, you know, he's fallen off the wall and he's broken and he's scared and he's sad. He's at the bottom of this wall and he just is longing to be up there with the birds and watching the birds. And so every day he goes to the wall and he's, you know, trying to find the courage to get back up there, but he's so afraid he's going to get hurt again. And so when he finally gets the courage to get back up there, I always ask adults what they think happens to him. And they always say, oh, he falls again. But he doesn't fall again. He hatches and he soars away with the birds. So it is this beautiful metaphor for overcoming fear and what happens when we face our fear and how normal it is for us to have fears when we're hurt, after we're hurt. And that when we face them, we can soar. We also have an activity that goes with it. So we will be doing a training around both of these books. Both the French version, we're still deciding whether the programming will be in both French and English or separate programs for French and English. But if I would love to see you all, if anyone knows of parents or teachers that want to work with kids around this, we will be introducing them to the lessons and the sessions and showing them how to work through the programming if that's something that they resonate with and would like to be involved in.
All right. Thank you, Edwina. That's exciting. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'm going to do is we actually have a few spiritual guides who are not here today. So I want to also introduce them very briefly. Mo Dejay is going to do some programming on connecting with the spiritual consciousness. We're also going to have Jean-Louis do some programming on simplicity and having a discussion on that. And finally, we're going to have Christine Geith doing some programming on simplicity within a nature and spirituality context. So they all could not be here today, but they're very excited for this programming coming up. And finally, with this portion of the program, we're just going to circle back to Rosemary, see if she has any final thoughts and wants to discuss what her programming will be for this month.
Yes. I love the way that the programming from different people comes together. And for me, the basis for simplicity, what I'm going to focus on, is the importance of feelings. The fact that we need to feel our feelings. We need to acknowledge them and to look at them and to allow them to speak to us. And in that awareness, we allow the complexities that have built up in our lives to dissolve. And so this is the practice and the discussion that I'm going to be leading this month. And I look forward to sharing it with you. And before we end, we need to ask Jean-Louis to tell us what he's going to be sharing with us. You're muted. Unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you, Rosemary. So I'm Jean-Louis Morel. I'm French, but I live in Peru. And so for me, simplicity, well, I would say the ability to live simplicity is to live clarity, because to be clear with oneself and with other people, to get clear relationships. It's also to live with ease, because when something is easy, it's simple generally. It's also to live in sobriety through measure and moderation. And but it's also the capacity to live with humility, and not to try to pretend someone else, to be someone else, sorry. To live in simplicity is also to return to the essential, and to distance oneself from the system of consumption, which manages all the crowds of the world. And so it's also to connect to the essence of things. To live in simplicity is also to leave having to enter into being, and that means also that we have to abandon fear to embrace love. So finally, for me, to live in simplicity is to be connected consciously to the source and her release. So well, it's only to live with the source and to follow the current of the thoughts of the source, intending to get rid of my fears and of my doubts. So in my daily life, I think it's a good period of time to live in simplicity. You know, in Peru, we with the 4 months of lockdown, we had to live simply. But anyway, yes, I try to, since years now, I try to live with simplicity, trying to enjoy simple things like going to the garden and connecting to the plants, to the trees. Looking at my baby who is growing up, and well, yes, to live in faith, not more. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mariah?
Yes, thank you, Jean-Louis. Sorry I missed you. All right,
No,
I'm
no.
glad everyone got to speak more on the theme. I think there were a lot of great insights, and we hope you'll look forward to all the programming. So we have a little bit of time for if any of the attendees or guides have any questions or comments related to the theme or programming coming up this month. We have a little time. So if anyone would like to pose any questions or share any insights, now's the time.
Just wanted to mention one thing I failed to mention, I think, when I was sharing, and that this heart math technique is something you can use to prepare your day, to set your energy. But if you feel you're getting off of the simplicity and things are starting to get a little ragged, it's something you can do in 2 to 5 minutes quickly to reset your energy. So I just think it's a beautiful way to keep coming back to simplicity over and over. Thanks. Just wanted to mention that.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Yeah, I have to say that as I've been, following different guides and doing different aspects of this program each month, it has cumulatively given me a new perception of that aspect of living. And I've really benefited from attending, 3 or 4 different programs a week, which I will continue doing. And I invite others to do as well.
And if you allow me just to take 1 minute, I didn't share what I'm gonna do this month because I just explained my point of how I see simplicity. I'm planning to keep it simple, 300 meditations this month. I mean, 7 meditations. 7 meditations, 7 days of meditation, proposing this mental diet that has been so effective in my day by day. And putting together this, I'll be in contact, I guess, with Sabrina in order to coordinate this theme. Thank you.
I'd like to add a little something that's happened to me as I'm sitting here outside. I have a hummingbird feeder, and the hummingbirds are coming around like they do every day at this time, and they're enjoying their food. And it brought me to a place of when this is done today, I'm going to sit here and watch the hummingbirds for a little bit and learn from them, because they have a simplistic life in my eyes. Some people would say it's very, kind of busy, but I think it brings simplicity to me to be able to sit and take the time to enjoy them as they play, which is something I think is simplicity for us if we're playing.
I just wanted to add a little bit about the themes, and when we've gone to share, we've shared in the last past 2 months, June, July, now August. And there's an interesting phenomenon that I like to reflect on when I share teachings, is that whatever I'm having to focus on, the way to integrate it too is I'll start having conversations with the people around me around that theme. So like simplicity has come up this week with some of the clients that I'm seeing, and just even before this summit, I was sharing with my friend about how sometimes living simply really makes life not just easier but happier, versus when the mind becomes intertwined with a lot of complexity, and then that sort of travels through to actions that, you know, it could have been just simpler and easier to not go there. And so I really maybe invite, you know, any attendees that watch the recordings or attend live, that the theme, allow that theme to sort of permeate your month. I think you'll get a lot more out of that. And that's a way of integrating the material and having it sink in. And it's very enriching, I find.
Okay. Well, if there are no burning questions, I think we can get ready to wrap up. So really quickly, I'm going to highlight this week's programs, and then Rosemary will do the closing for us. So for the programming this week, again, everything is on livingpeacenow.org. And once you create an account and go under programs and calendar, you will be able to see this screen. And you can see today we had the summit, but we have a guest interview coming up on the 5th with Rosemary and Stephen Pope. We have one of Emily's simple practice exercises coming up, and Alex and Leland doing tones for your bones. So lots of great things to look forward to. Hope to see you there, and I'll hand it over to you, Rosemary.
Thank you, Mariah. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for sharing, and for helping, for opening up the experience of August on Living Peace Now. And I think this month, I will look forward to seeing at the end of the month what has happened for each person in terms of awareness, evolution, new knowledge, new practice, changes, positive changes for all our lives. And with that, and many thanks, I envision for the month of August, for everybody who checks us out, everybody who participates. Let's look at and look forward to a wonderful bonding, friendship, exchange, and growth. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is. Thank you.
Okay. So we're now complete.